Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to Popternative. This is the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions, worlds of TV, film, pop culture, news, everything really depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. You'll recognize my guest recently from a show on Freeform called Cruel Summer. We are talking to Shelby Surdam. Shelby, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you for having me.
It's exciting because, you know, the show, you work on the show, it drops, everyone has a chance to finally see it. Has it hit you that it's finally out?
Yeah, I describe it as something, it's like you work on it and it's like your baby and you're so proud of it and you're like, oh, you know, you're all loving this thing and then it's finally out and you're like, now you're really scared. It's like it turned 18 and now it's out into the world and you're like, oh no.
Absolutely. And we'll get into Cruel Summer, your character, but like for you, storytelling and acting wise, when did that start for you at a young age?
Yeah, my mom took me to see theater, like local theater plays. And then as I was watching, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be on stage. I don't want to just watch it. And then I did that up until I was like 13, 14. And then I transitioned into film. There was just something about it. Probably I was learning more about film, seeing more movies, and I just resonated with it more. And then it just went from there.
And the rest was history, right?
Yeah, the rest was just...
Was there a type of I mean, there's so many amazing genres of content these days, but was there a genre that you kind of gravitated towards in terms of interest or like what you wanted to work in, like comedy, drama, or was it kind of a little bit of everything?
It was like a little bit of everything, I feel like. For me, everything was so new because like when I was younger, I watched a lot of like Doctor Who.
Yep.
I was homeschooled, so it was like fantasy, and then there's also like rom-coms. I loved rom-coms, and then comedy, The Office, Parks and Rec, and all of that combined. I was just like, yes.
Yeah. Oh, those shows do not have a shelf life. Parks and Rec and The Office, like they do not. It's funny because we've been very lucky to interview people from those shows. Like we interviewed Miller Hardin, who played Jan in The Office, and we've interviewed Jim O'Hare, who plays Jerry in Parks and Rec. And like they to talk about how they did those shows such a long time ago, Shelby, and they still like get mentioned about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, gosh, I think it's probably because of streaming. You know, streaming has helped it astronomically.
Oh,
and now
absolutely.
everyone was so upset once The Office went away for Netflix. Like people still talk about it. I have a dog named Jim from
That's awesome.
that was named after The Office when I got him. So it does not have a shelf life.
And Cruel Summer, your show that's on now, it's on Freeform, but it's also playing, I believe, also on Hulu as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's next day on Hulu, and then we also have it for international viewers. They will get it on Amazon Prime. So
there's a lot of areas to watch it. I think it's one of those things from because I always like to kind of look and analyze like the fandom and everything. The Cruel Summer fans, they are very into the show, but they're detectives. They're trying to figure everything out. Like, have you noticed that too? Like on social media?
Yeah, my sister, her friends love it. My mom's friends love it. So they'll ask them for details and information. So I've heard all the theories. I feel like I've heard the mirror theory. I've heard some crazy theories out there. But it's crazy. I never thought that would be the thing. I think when you're filming it, you have no idea.
Absolutely. For people that have not had a chance yet, Shelby, to watch Cruel Summer, can you, without going into super spoilers, go into detail about what the show is and about your character as well?
Yeah, so Cruel Summer is about two girls, Kate and Jeanette. And Jeanette is this, at first, it's all in 3 years in the 90s. So in those first years, you see Jeanette kind of the nerdy girl, and then the next year she becomes popular. And that year is when Kate is missing.
Yeah.
That next year she comes back. She is found, and then she accuses Jeanette of kind of being a part of it. of seeing her, and it tells the story of those two and who's telling the truth of these like two young girls. And then you also see it from the point of view of, you know, my character and other characters, how they dealt with it, how they are dealing with it throughout these years.
Absolutely. Yeah, and your character is a friend of Olivia Holt's character.
Yeah, so in 1993, she's friends with Kate, and then in 94, she's friends with Jeanette, and then that huge drop, you know, that huge revelation comes into play, and now it's like, who do you believe? And that's what the whole town is thinking.
I feel like flashback scenes are just so powerful, and I feel like they're being used a lot more now in like TV and film. Do you see that too?
Yeah, I do. I think it helps probably the audience see what the character has like gone through.
Yeah.
It makes them be right there with them, and they understand them a lot more.
Absolutely, for sure. When people watch Cruel Summer, you obviously hope that they enjoy it, they recommend it to their family and friends. Diving deep into it a little bit more, Shelby, what are you hoping they get out of it when they watch the show?
I think, of course, there's like the mystery element to it,
Yep.
but I hope also there's like an understanding, because these are teens. Like, Kate goes missing when she is 15, I believe.
Yep.
That's when like Jeanette is. And so I hope that there's like understanding. I hope that people see what is going on with even the adults in this show. We're talking about heavy elements, but we're trying to do it in a way that people, one, understand and also care about.
Absolutely.
Because those things need to be talked about. And we're not afraid to at least push that boundary and talk about it.
Absolutely. Working on a show like this, you know, there's, like I said, there's some very powerful scenes involved with a lot of characters. Is the mindset when you're done a show like this, depending on how long the set, I don't know how long you were on set for, but I mean, are you like craving, like are you the type of person like, wow, I want to go work on another show, let's do it? Or is it kind of like a lot, like, is it like a lot, are you tired after doing it? You're like, hey, let's take a break, let's do some auditions. Like, what's the mindset like for you, like when you wrap a show like this?
Pretty much when I remember when I wrapped, I was very sad. You know, I was a part of the show from like 2019, and then COVID hit. So this was the show was a lot. It was so long. But then I was like, oh, you know, you have that downtime, and I'm a huge crafter, so I have now all these pictures, and I did a scrapbook, and it's like you do you do that. And then after your long break, you're like, okay, yeah, let's go. Let's try to do this. Let's do something new. Let's get some auditions. I'm also just not one of those people that kind of just sits down and wait. Even writing, I've done that as well.
Absolutely. So. A lot of crafting done over the pandemic, but a lot of painting. Do you know a lot of people painted during the pandemic?
I was one of those people.
I definitely saw a lot of that, which is interesting. You know, you're focusing on your acting, but you know, a lot of people in the entertainment industry gravitate towards like wearing many hats at one point. They go and maybe they write, they produce, they direct as well. Maybe acting is kind of what your like main focus is on right now, but have you thought about maybe going behind the camera at one point in your career, or is acting something you want to really focus on?
Like you said, acting is definitely one thing that I'm focused on. I'm just super passionate about it, but I have given it the idea of directing, producing, and writing, and taking all of those hats. For Cruel Summer, it was so women driven. We had Michelle Purple, we had Jessica Biel, Tia, who was our showrunner, and even directors who were women. And seeing them work really gave me the hope that one day I could also do that as well. It was really great to see. But even now, I'm working with a group of girls, and we're writing something in the genre of fantasy, but also something relating to teens, and also another project that deals with people in their 20s. So,
ooh, absolutely. What was that like? We'll get back to it. I said about how, you know, the trailer kind of dropped for Cruel Summer. Everyone was interested and stuff. What was that like for you when the trailer finally dropped? Because like you said, this was something you were working on for a while. Was it kind of really cool when the trailer dropped? Like that must have been like, oh man, like we're close.
Oh yeah, I think everyone was texting me, everyone from the cast to even people from crew. There was so much like love of like, we did it, we finally did it, it's finally gonna come out. And there was just like I have so much love for everyone that was involved. They're just so hardworking all the time. Like the blood, sweat, tears was just all like there.
Absolutely.
So it was a monumental moment, at least
I like that. Monumental. I like that. That's a good word for that for sure. I'm talking about like acting, learning experiences. Cause like no matter how many projects you've worked on, whether it's your first or one that you've worked on after a lot of others, there's always gonna be learning experiences. What were some learning experiences for you as an actor on this show, Shelby?
I think I learned a lot from the show. One was definitely like patience. We did the pilot and then it was a lot of patience because of COVID happening. And then after that it was like, okay, yeah, let's go. We're doing it. So I learned a lot of patience through the show. I think also, like I said, it's so women driven. I watched a lot of, what Michelle Purple was doing, to talking to Tia, our showrunner, to even being directed by these two women, Kelly Cyrus and Alexis. Watching them again was great. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna, like, if I ever direct, I think I know now how to like handle certain situations and how I would do it, and even like keeping the momentum up. You have long days, you have long nights sometimes, and everyone was like, oh yeah, we're doing this, we're making a TV show, this is gonna be great. Yeah, like pushing through it. There was never like, I think a bad moment on set, really.
Oh, absolutely. Shelby, thank you so much for coming on Popternative. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
So yeah, Cruel Summer, Freeform, and then it plays on Hulu. People could check that out now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
don't watch it.
Where can people follow you on social media to keep update with everything?
I don't post a lot, but it's just Shelby Surdam, my first and last name. I'm like a grandma. I post once a month.
So you're on social media, but you're not on social media, basically.
I'm on there. You can definitely check it out. But I am. It's just like a, hey, don't worry about me, I'm still here. And that's...
It's funny because for TikTok, like I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
like
that's how I am.
I have an account today. Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. For previous episodes, be sure to catch Shelby in Cruel Summer, which is on Freeform and Hulu. Until next time, this is Shelby Surdam and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.